If the cave starts breathing, you have gone too far. This recording comes from the Cryptid Files, a collection of recovered incident reports involving unknown predators in the wilderness of Canada being investigated by the secretive organization, the Ministry of Cryptid Control. This is the Cryptid Files, Case File 005, The Mine Shaft. Classification: Restricted. Location: abandoned mining complex in the interior of British Columbia. Status: site sealed by the Ministry of Cryptid Control. The entrance to the mine was easy to miss. A collapsed logging road twisted through the mountains, several hours north of Kelowna, eventually ending near a steep rocky hillside. Hidden behind a curtain of brush and fallen timber, a rusted metal frame marked the entrance to an abandoned mining shaft. The operation had closed nearly 40 years earlier. No one had worked there since, which was exactly why Ryan Cole and his two friends wanted to explore it. Urban exploration had become their hobby. Abandoned buildings, forgotten towers, forgotten tunnels, collapsed mines. They filmed everything and uploaded it onto their small online channel. Ryan adjusted the camera mounted to his chest. "This place is perfect," he said excitedly. "Nobody's been here in decades." Behind him, Marcus studied the dark opening carved into the rock. "Looks like something out of a horror movie." Sarah laughed nervously. "Let's just hope it stays that way." The three of them switched on their headlamps and stepped inside. The tunnel swallowed the daylight almost immediately. Their beams of light caught narrow paths through the darkness, revealing wooden support beams and rusted mining rails disappearing deeper into the mountain. The air smelled strange. Not just damp rock and old dust. Something else. Something organic. Marcus wrinkled his nose. "You smell that?" Ryan nodded. "Probably animals living in here." But as they moved deeper into the tunnel, the smell grew stronger, rotting, like something had died. Several times they had found strange marks scratched into the stone walls. Deep grooves. 3 parallel lines repeated again and again along the tunnel. Sarah ran her hand near one of them. "These weren't made by tools." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" "These look like claw marks." Ryan laughed uneasily. "From what? A mountain lion living underground?" No one answered. The tunnel slooped downward, eventually opening to a larger chamber where the mining rails ended. Their lights swept across the cavern. Something was wrong with the floor. It was covered in bones. Animal bones, deer, elk, even a few large skulls Ryan couldn't immediately identify. Marcus stopped walking. "Okay, that's not normal." The smell was overwhelming now. Rotting flesh mixed with something reptilian. Ryan lifted his camera. "This is insane. It's like it's some kind of animal feeding ground." Sarah turned her light toward the far side of the cavern. Her breath caught in her throat. "Guys, look." Along the back wall of the chamber were several massive shapes lying on the ground. At first they looked like large boulders. Then one of them moved, slowly. A heavy, scaled body shifted across the cave floor. Ryan's voice dropped to a whisper. What the hell? One of the creatures lifted its head. It was enormous. Its thick reptilian neck rose several feet into the air, revealing a massive predatory head lined with jagged teeth. Its eyes opened. Vertical pupils narrowed in the glare of their lights. Marcus whispered in horror, "That's not possible." The creature stared at them for several seconds. Then something even worse happened. Another head lifted behind it, then another. Sarah's voice trembled. "There's more of them." The chamber floor was covered with creatures, some large, some smaller. Several juvenile cryptids shifted restlessly among the bones. Ryan realized the truth at the same time Marcus did. This is a nest. The nearest creature began to stand. Its massive claws scraped across the stone floor as it rose to its full height. The sound echoed through the mine shaft. The other creatures began stirring. Ryan slowly backed away. "Don't move fast," he whispered. Marcus didn't listen. He turned and ran. The reaction was immediate. The largest creature lunged forward with terrifying speed. Marcus barely managed to scream before the creature slammed into him. The cavern erupted into chaos. Sarah grabbed Ryan's arm. "Run!" They sprinted back towards the tunnel as the sound of snapping bones echoed behind them. Something enormous chased them through the darkness. Claws scraped against stone. A thunderous roar filled the tunnel. Ryan's camera shook violently as he ran. "Go, go!" They burst out of the mine entrance seconds later, collapsing onto the rocky, hilly outside. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Sarah looked back towards the tunnel. The darkness inside the mine seemed deeper now. Something large shifted just inside the entrance, watching them, but it didn't come out. Ryan slowly realized why. Sunlight. The creatures remained just inside the shadows of the tunnel. Sarah whispered, "They can't leave the mine." But as she said it, a smaller shape crept closer to the entrance behind a larger creature. A juvenile. Its vertical pupils stared at them curiously. Ryan grabbed Sarah. "We need to leave." They ran down the logging road without looking back. 2 days later, a military helicopter landed near the abandoned mine. Armed personnel surrounded the entrance. One of the agents studied the camera footage recovered from Ryan's device. He paused the video on the moment when the creatures shifted their heads. The cavern was filled with them. He exhaled slowly, then spoke into his radio. "Confirmed nesting chamber." A pause. "Multiple relic predators present." Another pause. Then he added something that made the entire team fall silent. "Juveniles confirmed." The agent looked back towards the dark tunnel entrance. His voice dropped. "We're going to need a containment operation." Behind him, something deep within the mine roared, and several smaller roars answered it from the darkness, leaving the Ministry of Cryptid Control agents stunned as they stared back towards it. Thank you for listening to Case File 005, The Mine Shaft. And if you like eerie stories like this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you go into the deep woods and you hear something, it's already too late.